Okay guys, here we go with our Unit 2 decimal review. I'm going to go over to the first page and then I'll make a second video for the second page because it can get quite long sometimes, so that you can jump to between videos when you're going. At any time, if I'm going too fast, please pause it, look at the answers, make sure you listen to what I'm saying and how I'm getting the answers. That's important. Okay. Number 1 here. We have Sam jumped a total of 5 and 43 thousandths of an inch. So all we need to do is write that as a word phrase, or as into standard form. So the first number thing I'm going to look for is the and. That's going to be my decimal point. So the 5's in front, so that means that this is going to be a 5 right there. Okay, the next part after the decimal point is going to be after my decimal. That's 43 thousandths. So I'm going to look for the last word, and that's thousands. And I'm going to try to find my thousands place value first, because that's where my number has to end. This tells me where my number ends. So I look at my place values. This is tenths, hundredths, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. So thousands is where I want to be. So tenths, hundredths, thousands, which means my 3 needs to end in the thousands place. And it's 43, so I'm going to put the 4 in front. In order to keep it over there, I have to put a 0 here. You do not have to write anything in the blanks after, although if you do put zeros, that is not incorrect. So I get 5.043 is what I have written down. I have nothing in the last two blanks, which is 5 and 43 thousandths of an inch. Problem 2, the mechanical pencil holds lead that is 9/10 of a millimeter wide. There is no and, which means there's no number either before or after the decimal point. If there's no and, that means all the numbers are on the same side of the decimal point. In this case, the THS indicates it's after the decimal point, so I have no numbers in front. So I'm just going to put 1 0 here, and then I'm going to do 9/10. So tenths is the first place value because it goes tenths, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Tenths is the first place, so I'm going to put my 9 here. And I do not have to put anything afterwards, although if you do put zeros, that's not incorrect, but you do not have to put anything afterwards. I just have to put the 1 0 in front, so I get 0.9, which is 9/10. Okay, that's 1 and 2. All right, let's move on to writing each decimal in words. When I write decimal in words, I'm going to look before the decimal point. That's 13, so I'm going to write that out. 13. Decimal point is and then I write out that number, 45. Okay, and which place value does it end in? Tenths, hundredths. So I'm going to write hundredths. Hundredths. TH is after the decimal point. Okay, so 13, there's my 13, and is my decimal point. I write out that number, 45, and then which place value does it end in? Tenths, hundredths. So that's hundredths place value. Okay, for number 4, I have 62 as my number before, so I'm going to write that out. 62. Decimal point, and write out the number after the decimal point, that's 4, and then I just figure out what place value that ends in. Tenths, hundredths, thousands, so I put thousands. 62 and 4 thousandths is my answer. Okay, moving on to number 5, tell which place value I've rounded each number. Okay, so I'm going to look. I'm going to see here, this is my original number, this is where I've rounded, so that's tenths, hundredths, thousands. I rounded the third one, so I rounded that to the thousandths. So write thousands, third one after is thousandths. In number 6, tenths, hundredths, so that I rounded this to the hundredths. Okay, so I'm just looking at my rounded number and seeing which place value it ends in. That tells me where I've rounded my answer. Okay, let's round the next ones to the indicated value. Nearest tenth for number 7. So the tenth, I like to underline the place value I'm rounding to. That's the 9. I look at the next number to see if I keep it the same or round up. The 3 is below 5, 4 or less, stays the same. So 21.9. Number 8 is nearest thousandths, so it's tenths, hundredths, thousands. So that's the 1. I look at the 5. 5 or more raises score. So it's 9.062. Okay, the 1 went to a 2. Nothing happens to the other numbers. I stop writing after that. Whatever place value I round to, I write nothing afterwards. So do not write any zeros afterwards. Some of you are still doing that. Okay, nearest hundredth. So tenths, hundredths, that's going to be the 3. So it's going to be 3.2, and then I look at the next number. That's a 5, so that 3 is going to become a 4. So that's 3.24, 3 and 24 hundredths. Leading digit means you round it to the first digit that you see. So that's the 8. The 1 keeps the 8 and 8, so it's 0.008. Again, I do not write anything afterwards. Number 11, that's going to be the 6, so I round to that place value right there. So it's going to be 0.1230 zeros. That 6 is going to make that a 7. Number 12, it's going to be that 6. I look at the 2, is going to keep it a 2. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros after the decimal point. And then the 6 stays the same. So that's my final answer for that. Okay, number 13, estimate to find the sum. So you're going to round first, and then you're going to add or subtract. Now, when I said rounding, easy, we're just going to round to the nearest whole number for all of these. Okay, that's 10.23, so that's going to be 10. The 23, the 0.2 is going to be less than 0.5, so it stays at 10. The 7 is more than 0.5, so that's going to go up to 6. 10 plus 6 is 16. Number 14, the 6 is more than a 5, so that's going to raise the 5.6 to a 6. Plus this 2 right here is less than 5, so that's going to keep it a 4. 10 plus 4 is 10. Notice how I'm writing what I'm rounding to first, so I need to see that in your work. This is a 2 here, so that's going to be less than 5. I do not care about any of these other numbers over here. I only care about the next number after the decimal point. So that's going to be 1 plus. That's a 6. That's going to be more than 5, so it's going to make it 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. And then this one here, that's a 5. This I'm going to go up. So that's going to make the 4 a 5 plus 9.2. It's going to keep it at 9. 5 plus 9 is 14. Notice I never go down at all. I just either stay the same or go up 1. Okay, those are all adding. Now I'm going to do the same thing, except with my difference. 3 problems here. Estimating still, so it's going to be 8.8. So that 8 is all I'm going to look at. That 8 is going to make this 8 go to a 9. Minus that 6 is going to make that 5 go to a 6. 9 minus 6 is 3. Number 18, the 7 is just going to stay the same. Minus this 4 is going to keep the 2 at 2. 7 minus 2 is 5. And number 19, this 8 is going to make the 26 a 27. Minus that 7 is going to make the 15 a 16. 27 minus 16 is 11. And that is my answer. Okay? If you need to go back and look at any of those, go ahead, and there'll be a second video for the second page of this.